All right, I'm back.
Okay, we're going live, brother. Oh, the chat is up and running, and apparently we are live. Welcome, everyone, to this week's episode of Primetime Gaming. And it's going to be another amazing show. And you know what I just noticed? Because I had a lot of stress today, I put the Xbox Factor podcast thumbnail instead of the primetime gaming one. I will change that at the end of the show. But listen, folks, I want to thank everyone for being here. Chat, you guys are absolutely incredible. And man, do we have an absolutely outstanding show planned for you. Now, today was supposed to be the return of So Shady. Unfortunately, his computer kind of crapped out on him, so he's going to be making his return next week. And we're down two other members. Tempest's son has some family responsibilities. He should be here for the second half of the show. And Cybernox, his son wasn't feeling good, and he is at the doctor. But we do have an absolutely incredible panel, lots of guests. So let's get into the introductions now. First up, you know him as a gamer whose undying skills in Destiny have no match and no limit. He's our inside man to everything GameStop. He's an incredible father, husband, and one heck of a community member, creator of the amazing Gaming Forte YouTube channel, and an integral part of the Basement Radio Arcade podcast, and the reason why the farm in Destiny 2 still stands. Please welcome Guardian Forte.
What up, though? The farm is still standing, even though there's no reason for you to go there.
That's great. I love it.
No, man. Glad to be back as usual. And also, it's been over a month. I have officially uploaded a video to my YouTube channel. So if you
that's good. That's good.
Go check out that video. It was I forgot how long.
Yeah, you know what? When you don't do it for a while, you actually forget how many hours you take editing and re-editing and doing thumbnails and doing artwork and then uploading. It's a lot of work, man.
Yeah, man. But it was fun, though. It's fun to get back in the saddle. And I want to say thank you to everybody that's been very supportive on the channel, keeping that channel alive, and also on Twitter, man. You guys have been truly amazing and really love to just have conversations about stuff like games and just personal life. Guys in the chat too.
Yeah, well, I mean, listen, this community is amazing, dude. And I say this all the time, and I don't mean it in jest. I mean it 100% from the bottom of my heart. We have channels because of the community, right? The community is what powers everyone who's a content creator, and I really want to kind of just drive that point home, because without you guys showing up to the shows each and every week, we wouldn't have anybody to listen. And we are, of course, and I say we, I like to speak for everybody, not only this panel, but just on generally the content creation community. We certainly appreciate the outstanding support that we get almost on a daily basis. But let's move on to the next panel member. Now we have an Italian gamer who's one of the nicest and most skilled pirate legends that I personally know. He is the creator of the outstanding Four Guys with Quarters. He's been a gamer since the days of Pac-Man, a community leader who helps everyone in need for no other reason than it's the right thing to do, and a die-hard gamer who I consider to be a brother. Please welcome, floating home as we speak, the Italian Clowns.
Hey, what's up? Pleasure being here, man.
Well, it's great to have you as always, and the fact that you are so skilled as a pirate legend, it works out because you're always floating, looking for the next island so you can get your slice of pizza or homemade calzone. How is that search going, dude?
Still no good calzones in Florida, but I'm floating on a log, boom.
Well, listen, dude, it's great to have you here as always, and this is where we get into our guests. Next, we have the extreme pleasure of having a real-life superhero on tonight's panel, a community member who has on a multitude of occasions answered the call from me personally when I'm in need of last-minute guests, a community member who's also in the chat supporting many of the content creation community. He's a proud husband and father and grew up gaming on anything he could get his hands on. Please welcome to the panel and to Primetime Gaming, Dreadpool.
Thank you. I'm excited to be here. And like I said, anytime I can help anybody out, I'm there for everybody.
We definitely appreciate it, dude. That's for sure.
Yes, yeah. You guys have always welcomed me, so I want to give the feedback and everything. So this is great. Thank you.
Well, listen, it's great to have you here. And of course, if you didn't know, he is also going to be a guest on Friday morning's Breakfast with Boom with Crispy Bomb and one other special guest. So I'll be making that announcement later on in the week. And last and in no way least, making his primetime gaming debut as well. You know him from Twitter as the Centurion, creator of the outstanding LegionOfGamer.com, a non-biased, unfiltered gaming news and opinion site. He's a community member that's respectful in all of his amazing content, but is not afraid to call it like he sees it. He sticks to the hashtag facts and is an up-and-coming YouTube star. Please welcome Centurion 1307.
Wow, man, that is probably the greatest intro I will probably ever receive in my life.
Don't worry, I'll mail it to you.
It's great to be here with you. I've been listening to BoomStick for years, and to finally be on one of his shows is, well, that's definitely checked off the bucket list now. But the fact I'm sitting here with Clowns, Gaming Forte, Dreadpool, people that I have either been listening to for a long time or actually had personal dealings with, this is absolutely awesome.
Well, it's great to have you because I'm going to be honest. You know, as content creators, right? You make videos. There's probably a good chance that you are doing what you're currently doing because you listened to someone else. Now, and I like to give a lot of people a lot of credit. Now, I Mooch, for instance, obviously Mooch, you know who he is because he has the loudest voice in gaming, gave me an opportunity to kind of check off the bucket list. For me, it was I was always under the impression I was going to get on one gaming podcast and be able to say, you know what, I did it. I that's one check. And it turned out to be something special, and that's because of his generosity and him being a welcoming a host. And then I got a taste for it, and I always promised myself that if I were ever in a position where people would tune in to what I had to say, which still blows my mind that anyone wants to listen to me, I'm going to be honest, folks, that I would make sure that I would give anyone who asked an opportunity, because that is paying it forward. That is what you're supposed to do. That is what makes you a good community leader and person. But, you know, in many shows in the past, and this is the 7th show that we're doing Primetime Gaming since we launched in September of this year, I've opened the show with a community question. But for this particular episode, I'm doing something a little different. In fact, I'll be talking about Children of Morta, a title that was just released on Xbox One and the PlayStation 4 on Tuesday by 11-Bit Studio, who is a small indie developer out of Warsaw, Poland. They were responsible for releasing the award-winning Anomaly Warzone Earth, which is a tower defense / RTS game, and This War of Mine, as well as the recently released Frostpunk. Now, the follow-up to these fantastic trio of titles is, of course, what was sent to me by 11-Bit Studios to review. And that, of course, we're talking about is Children of Morta. And it appears they have struck gold once again. Now, this game is a pixel-bit art style. It's very striking and appears to be all hand-drawn. It's a retro throwback to the 16-bit days of gaming with a top-down perspective like you'd find in Diablo. It has rogue elements that when you die, you have to start the entire dungeon over. Now, I'm going to be honest here, folks. rogue stuff, really not my thing. But this game is very different. Now, it tells the story about a family tasked to defeating the growing menace known as the corruption. And each family member has a different attribute to help in this quest. The father is a warrior, the daughter is an archer, there's also a mage along the way, for a total number of 6 family members to unlock and use throughout the game's story. Now, I'm going to be honest. For me, the difficulty seemed extremely, and sometimes in some spaces, excessively high. And maybe it's because my skills, I'm almost 50, so maybe my skills are starting to deplete. But I am going to say that the way the game is made, as you die, the story progresses almost like 11-bit Studio expects the player to die often. Something I thought was very interesting, but at times very frustrating. Now, you can play in co-op. And this is wise because I died a lot playing alone, because I had this before the game was released. I was there really wasn't a lot of people to play with. Though the enemies are tough, I'm going to say that, and the lack of health to regain your strength after a battle was nowhere to be found. But some people in the community really dig these rogue type games where the difficulty is ramped up to 11. And if you are one of those gamers, I think this game is definitely going to be for you. Now, one of the awesome parts of the game, besides its amazing art style, was the narration while the story is being told. Now, the actor used for this was perfect, and his voice was haunting, but in a good way. Overall, I don't usually like rogue elements in games, and I steer away from them, but I do like hack and slash Diablo style games. So if you don't mind dying a lot, and you have a friend to take on these large dungeons, and you want to enjoy a classic 16-bit art style, and a game that when you die helps tell the story in a unique way, I really think that this game is gonna be for you. So in closing, I will say that give Children of Morta a chance. And if you're not sure, before you buy, go watch some YouTube videos on it. It's a gorgeous game. It is really striking to look at. The family aspect is really strong. It's something that I really gravitate to in games because I'm a family guy. Just like I'm a community guy, I feel the same way about my family. And this really tugs at the heartstrings with the family bond that you see, developing throughout the tale. Even though I'm not going to give it a score because I really have to put some more time into it, I am going to say that I highly recommend you checking out this game if, of course, you like Diablo-style type games, if you like that 8-bit art style, which is all hand-drawn and looks gorgeous, and, of course, if you really like that difficulty, I think this game is going to be for you. But, guys, has anybody on the panel got a chance to take a look at Children of Morta from 11-bit Studios?
No, you got me interested. I saw it. I didn't get a chance to even look at it or even look at any type of video, but you have sparked some major interest in this title because I am a huge fan of those Diablo type style games, and this seems like something that I would be super interested in. Mostly just because it's like one of those games that you could just passively play while you're doing other things. And that's the one thing that I love so much about just the type of games I like to play now. You don't have to really commit every little thought process to what the game is, like God of War and Spider-Man and stuff like that. Like on this game, you could just kind of just play through it, zone out, go back and do certain things over again. So yeah, I'm definitely going to give this a try because you really sparked some interest with just your depiction of what this game actually could be.
Yeah, I think everyone should give it a shot. I mean, like I said, I'm not saying to run out and buy it without looking, because the game may not be for everyone. Right. And anybody else on the panel like to kind of put their 2 cents in before we move on to like one of the first really big topics?
I just want to say I briefly looked at it, and the graphics intrigued me. I really like that kind of retro style graphics, and in some sense, I mean, just from looking at it, reminds me a little bit of like Addams Family with a mix of the old school games of oh man, I can't even, Day of the Tentacle, that kind of stuff.
Yes, it does have those type. I gotta tell you, The way the story is told is in such a unique way. Like I said, as you play the game, the story is being told when you go back to the house, because there's a central hub that's the home of where everyone lives. It's like a little it's a home, and they have a little, you know, like they have like a garden. They have different parts of the outside that you see characters moving around in. But when you die, it's funny. You come back to the house. You respawn at the house, and it starts to tell the story. So the more you die, the more the story unfolds. It's a very, very unique way of telling a story, something I've never seen done before.
Yeah, I gotta agree with you. It looks very interesting, so I'll check it out.
Nice. Well, listen, gentlemen, I want to move on to one of the bigger topics. Now, obviously, I'm a Star Wars freak. Okay, I'll be the first one to tell you. And I got a chance. I'm very lucky and old. I will say that I got a chance to see Star Wars in the theaters. Yes, I get it. Some people are probably laughing like, "Oh my God, Boom, is that old?" Yes, I'll be 50 next year. But I love it because I got a chance to understand the legacy that Star Wars is. Now, November is right around the corner. Now we're in the poop, so to speak. Trying not to curse, right? We are in the poop, so to speak, of when it comes to games that are releasing. We have the Outer Worlds. We have Call of Duty, which is coming out at the end of the week, I believe. And then, of course, yes. And we have something coming out on very soon in November. I believe it's the 14th. And that's Star Wars Jedi Fallen Order. Now, what I love about this, and the story that I pulled from Gaming Boat, they are reporting that the Star Wars Jedi Fallen Order has a mix of classic and original locations, apparently returning to what made Star Wars games of the past great again. And I actually couldn't be happier. Now, this is the first major single-player Star Wars game to come along in a very long time. And listen, the game has gone gold, and it won't be too long before we get our hands on it. Now, I've already have mine paid for. I paid for it already. As a matter of fact, using Microsoft reward points, I paid for half the game. Which, if you're not doing Microsoft reward points, shame on you. You should check in with Bing every day, rack up those points. Now, in an interview with VG247, narrative lead Aaron Contreras and lead level designer Jeff Mangers chatted about various aspects of the game, and when asked why they chose the locations they did with the wide access to the lore that they had, they said the team wanted to collaborate together with both new and old locations to try and carve out their own thing that will fit into what you know about Star Wars. And I really, really like their approach. Now, this is coming from Respawn. And if you don't know who Respawn is, I say boo to you, because they made Titanfall 1, they made Titanfall 2, and even though Titanfall 2 didn't explode the charts because of the way it was positioned between Battlefield and Call of Duty, the single-player campaign was an incredible tale, when I tell you. And you could probably pick it up for like 50 cents. So if you want, and you don't have EA access, go get yourself Titanfall 2 and play one of the best single-player Call of Duty style games you have probably ever played, until, of course, we play the new Call of Duty, which comes out at the end of the week. But I just want to read some of the quotes that they had to say, and I'm going to get the opinion of the panel. Building these planets is a super collaborative effort across the whole team. From concept art to narrative to level design to enemy design, we really wanted to take both planets that you've seen in other media, in other Star Wars properties, and also kind of carve out our own planets as well. They both come together in a unique and different way, and they both have their own challenges and strengths. He continues with, working on a planet that exists before, it needs to feel authentic to what has happened before on the planet, and the people have a certain sort of idea in mind, whereas on a brand new planet, it's about doing something totally new but making it feel authentic, still within the Star Wars universe. That was the fun balancing act, doing kind of both of those things. Now, Forte, I want to go to you first. What are your personal expectations, but more importantly, how excited are you in a month block in this part of the year where not only is Disney Plus launching with The Mandalorian, which is getting rave reviews, you have a new Star Wars game that's canon, and you have the new movie coming out in December. How stoked are you for this game?
I'm very stoked, Boone. First of all, tickets for Rise of the Skywalker went live today.
Yes, so they did.
I got my tickets for that already. Going to see it in IMAX and Dolby Cinema, so I can't wait for that. Secondly, just hearing about them using older locations and stuff and trying to mix the old with the new is just really. It's something that I always wanted them to do, to go back to visit a lot of these older places. Like, I can't remember the last time they went back to places like Tatooine and any of the movies and stuff. Sometimes people think that, well, they already been there. Well, it's Star Wars, it's about the opera. It's not about, it's about the story, but it's about the experiences that these people went through and the places they've been. And as much as I like how they always are changing up the locations and giving you different vistas and things to see, it's always nice to just go back and dive deep into the places you already been, especially for somebody that's been a huge Star Wars fan and actually seen all of the Star Wars except for the first one in theaters. I saw everything past Empire Strikes Back when it came to the original cut.
Very nice.
I think everybody's probably seen the re-release when they did it in theaters, but that original time I went to go see Empire Strikes Back just sticks with me wholeheartedly, and I love that movie to death. But yeah, just knowing all the different news that's coming out about this game, just knowing that they're talking about it being a Dark Souls type style game,
yes,
with combat and how weighty it is, all that type of stuff really speaks to me. And I'm really excited to see exactly what Respawn is going to do with this game, because we know they know how to make a really good shooter. They did that 2 times over. We know they know how to make really good single player games, because guess what? The times that they made them, they made some of the best single player stories that we ever got. And trust me, the Call of Duty that's coming out in literally less than a week is all based off the stories that they told back 10 to 15 years ago in the original Modern Warfare. They're just recapturing that again and repackaging it to give us a different version of that story. So Respawn ain't nothing to be played with when it comes to the way that they tell their stories. And if you want to ask anybody, go play Titanfall 2, one of the best stories that you will ever play in your life when it comes to a shooter. I love that game. So just thinking about what Star Wars is and what we've been missing, as long as just the scope of what we want that game to be, or just a Star Wars movie to be, is really something I'm looking forward to the most, because that's the one thing that's been missing. Where has been that story that just hooks you and makes you want to say, man, this is why I love Star Wars. I feel like we got some of that with Battlefront 2 and a little bit of the story that they told there, which was really good. I actually enjoyed it, but I'm expecting huge leaps from just that, because this isn't got any type of multiplayer tied to it. It's just a single player experience. It's one of those one and doners. So I wanted to be something that I remember, just like I remember Empire Strikes Back from the first time I saw it, watching walkers go through Hoth and knocking down smoke eaters. I just want to see all that all over again, and I think this game has the chance to deliver on that. And then The Mandalorian, I already got Disney Plus.
Yes, me too.
Point, I think everybody has Disney Plus at this point. $6.99, can't beat it. So
first of all, they were running a deal. I think it was $130 for 3 years.
Yes, they were, and I missed it.
Don't listen. As soon as it comes out, I can assure you they're going to bring that back, because that's a ridiculous deal.
That was, but yeah, I'm looking super excited to basically everything. And this is, if you're a Star Wars fan, you cannot ask for anything more other than Episode 9 to be what it needs to be. And that's the only thing I'm really worried about is the movie. But the game and the Mandalorian series, 100% in.
Yeah, no, me too. And you know what excites me about this game is the kid that's playing Cal in the game is the same actor that did the Joker in Gotham. That kid's an amazing actor, and why I'm even more excited is because this game is considered canon, and it would not surprise me in the least that we see this actor reprise the role in maybe a Disney Plus Star Wars show, and maybe they can actually do something to to continue the tale. I mean, granted, of course, we hope that he lives at the end of the game, but it's going to be interesting. Clowns, I want to go to you next on this. Star Wars means a lot to a lot of people. For me, it has been a part of my life since I was 7 years old, and I have always been infatuated with it. But when it comes to strong, story-driven, single-player narratives, we haven't had that in a very long time. Now, of course, we had that with The Force Unleashed, which was 1 and 2 were fan-freaking-tastic. But it's been really slim pickings. How excited are you to see what Respawn, in their amazing storytelling, can bring to the Star Wars universe, dude?
Well, I gotta say this. I think Respawn is a fantastic studio. So they're very talented, and the fact that they're gonna be the ones doing this next Star Wars game, it has me off the edge of my seat bum. I am a big Star Wars fan. I didn't see it in the theaters like you, but I remember the VHS tapes, the first prints that had Fox on the side and the blank styrofoam cassette in one of them. So, I'm really ecstatic for this, and I can't wait to play it. And I'm probably just going to play through that thing on every difficulty. I just love Star Wars, man.
That's a great point. Once you get the hang of it, because they said the combat is Souls-light, not Souls-esque, where you're going to be beaten to a pulp. But you just can't mash your way through the game. You're gonna have to use some style and some skill, and learn. It's old school gaming in a new school world. You kind of got to learn the patterns, and I think it has me excited, and I'm glad it has you excited because, like I said, Star Wars means a lot to a lot of people. And Dreadpool, I want to go to you next on this, dude, because I don't know. You've been on the show numerous times, and you've bailed Double Barrel Gaming out more times than I can count on two hands. And I'm always going to be grateful for that. But I have never had a chance to really talk to you and get your feeling on a subject like Star Wars. Personally, for you, what has Star Wars meant, in your life, and how excited are you to actually see Vince Zampella and that amazing team take this game on a run?
I am the original Mandalore.
There you go, folks. You heard it live on the air.
I've been a Star Wars fan ever since I've seen it. I was probably 6 years old.
Nice.
When it came out. I came out kicking and screaming because I wanted to see more. This game is phenomenal. This is finally what we've been asking for.
Yes.
I don't care if you throw it at me and you say, oh, you know what? It's by EA. Well, you know what? Respawn has been able to go back and say, I'm not using your crappy engine. I'm sorry.
No, that's okay. That's fine, because I want you to kind of touch on that point, because do you understand how every other developer that's attached to EA has been forced, including BioWare, to use the crummy Frostbite engine, and they said, nay, we're using Unreal 4. Talk about that for a second.
Yeah, I mean, they obviously have some sort of power there. You see what they did. They actually were scared of them. That's the way I'm looking at it now, because the more and more we've gone into time, you look into the past. Why would you put Titanfall 2 in between two blockbusters? Because you're scared of them. You're scared that they're going to surpass your big name blockbuster. So you put them in the middle where they got shafted. Now, we know that these guys are good. We love their games. This is finally something that we've been asking for Star Wars for a long time. We love multiplayer Star Wars. We want to shoot her. Yeah, that's all good. But where's the story? Where's the stuff that doesn't really need loot boxes so somebody can pay and win? Where's something we can actually become the character?
Yes.
We want to go in there, and like you said, everything's weighted. Unfortunately, the only weight to a lightsaber is the handle. Your
Great
hilt
point.
is the weight. That's why they say only Jedis can handle it, because you would basically not even know that there's the blade there, and you would just slice your own limb off, even your head off. So there needs to be weight when you're fighting these bosses. So when you do have that bounce back, when they block, everybody knows that I'm not really into the Dark Souls. I don't have that kind of patience.
Me
But
either.
for
I'm right
Star
there
Wars,
with you. I suck at it.
but for Star Wars, I will have that kind of patience, or I will literally just bludgeon my way through it. I don't care. I will just headstrong and go through it and figure it out. But it's because I get to be that character.
Yes. You know what it is? What I'm expecting from this, dude, is for Vince Impella and his team to tell a story, to tell an old school Star Wars story with new school graphics and control. And I think that because they're the master storytellers that we've seen create the Call of Duty that everyone's excited to be playing in a couple of days, and then of course continue that storytelling prowess with Titanfall 2. I have really, really high hopes that this is going to be a Star Wars masterpiece that we're all going to be talking about at the end of the year in our top 10 for 2019. What do you think about that?
I'm sorry, I didn't catch the last half of it.
No, I'm saying what I was saying is that this game has the potential to be in the top 10 of many people's 2019 games. And what are your thoughts on that? Based on the history and record of Respawn Entertainment.
Your Resident Evil 2 comment that it's going to be your game of the year?
Yes, it still is. As if we speak right now, it still is.
Well, this is going to be my game of the year.
Nice. I
Just
love
because, we all talked about Disney Plus. I got it. I joined the D23 program just so I can get in, and I got it in the nick of time. I literally had 2 minutes left when I got that email saying that I was in, to be able to jump in and get it, and I was like, whoo! I couldn't believe it. It was like, how did I miss this? And I let it go for so long. I mean, it was a small window.
Yeah, it was very small. So you
like,
got the 3 years for $130.
Yes,
dude, that's what a deal. What a deal!
It's awesome. It's only Disney Plus though, and because I was looking at getting the whole shebang, the three streaming services all in one. But it's only for the Disney Plus that I'm aware of.
Yeah, well, you know what? You're not going to need anything more, dude. They have so much content coming to that. They have, you got Obi-Wan, the original series. You got a Rogue One series. You got the Mandalorian, and that's what we just know of. I mean, we don't know what else is coming at the back end.
Well, I know what I want. Dash Rendar. We want him to come back.
Yes, very nice. Very, very nice. Well, listen, dude, that was actually a great way to move on to Centurion making his primetime, like Dreadpool, gaming debut. Now, when you talk about Respawn, a lot of people don't put it together with that they were involved in creating the Call of Duty that we know. And they were, of course, in Infinity Ward at one point. Most of the staff that's with Respawn have been or were employees at Infinity Ward with with their lead, and now they're here at EA. And granted, I kind of wish they were doing their own thing, but I understand that it's, you got to write the checks, you got to pay the people, you got to pay the the health insurance, and it was probably Vince Impella probably thought it was the best deal at the time to sign with EA and just become a part of them. And because they're so storied in their way that they develop games, and this is, folks, this isn't made up. This isn't something that Dreadpool and I just kind of wanted to put together. Vincent Pella told EA, we are making this game using Unreal Engine 4 and not Frostbite. They're the only developer to do that, because obviously we saw what happened with Anthem, and the rest is pretty much history. So the fact that this game is going to be this game's story is going to be told using the Unreal Engine there's a lot of potential here. Centurion, for you personally, what are your excitement levels for the new game from Respawn? More specifically, a Star Wars game that's single player focused.
Well, just so everybody knows my background on Star Wars, I have canvas paintings all over my house.
Oh, this is great.
Depicting Star Wars. I've even got a painting of the Star Wars, like an actual blueprint. Of the Death Star, an actual blueprint painting.
That's awesome.
So that way
dude.
you could see how to do the trench run and blow it up.
Do you have a van with Star Wars on it?
What'd you just say?
Do you have a van with
Star Wars on it?
No, I do not. No, I don't do. I keep it in my house. But the funny part is, my next door neighbor is a Jedi fanatic. I'm a Sith fanatic, so it's actually sometimes fun to have conversations because I prefer the Imperial side. He prefers the Rebel side. But
that's hilarious.
For starters, this is probably not going to come as a shock to most people, but EA, for starters, had no choice but to get Vincent Paula involved because he obviously has that background of creating the Call of Duty franchise.
Yes.
He has a studio behind him that supports him. And for all we know, this is something that they wanted to do because EA probably came up to him and said, hey, we got a problem. Disney is pissed off and they probably want to yank the contract on us because we're not doing a very good job with the franchise in the gaming world. So is there any way you can help us save this? And I am pretty sure Vincent, was like, yeah, we can do that, but here's some stipulations and this is what we need. You can figure out a better person to obviously kind of right the ship because of the Star Wars Battlefront 2 fiasco. I stood in line for that game and got to the head of the line and got asked that age-old question, would you like to buy a starter pack? Wait a minute, starter pack, what are you talking about? There's microtransactions in this game? So yeah, great. It went from there. But anyways, we could see that they're actually pulling out all the punches for this game. We saw the success that God of War had for bringing Christopher Judge in as Kratos. And now we got Forrest Whitaker and the guy from Gotham, Cameron Monaghan.
Yes.
Coming in. So they're definitely, it's kind of how gaming is starting to blur the lines between gaming and actual entertainment. At one time people were like, oh my God, video games. Now, like, it's on the scale of full-blown blockbuster movies, if not more. And I'm really excited. I've been watching the videos for this game. I like the fact that there's going to be a strategy to it. I even like the fact that they're trying to take the lightsaber as a serious weapon. I remember playing KOTOR back in the day. You had to level your lightsaber up just so that way you could get some decent damage out of it. It wasn't a one-hit kill thing. Definitely looking forward to a single-player experience with Star Wars.
Yes, me too.
I just really, really do hope that they knock this one out of the park because of just this whole generation has been one debacle after another when it comes to the Star Wars franchise. Games being canceled, games being released without no single-player campaign.
Terrible.
Or a very short one. So this definitely needs to be hit out of the park, and I couldn't think of a better person to do it. Purely, I enjoyed Titanfall 2, and like you were saying, you could pick that game up for 50 cents. Yeah, you could pick up like the ultimate edition of that game for like $5.
Yeah, and you know what? It'd be the best $5 you ever spent.
Oh yeah, it was. I actually bought it for a couple of my friends, and they all thanked me for getting it for them because at first they were like, oh, it's just Titanfall, and after they played it, they were like, I am so glad you got me that.
Yeah, a lot of people see, like, I love Titanfall 1. I mean, really loved. Like, 500 plus, maybe even double that hours of play. And 2's multiplayer, I prestiged and everything on both games, multiple prestiges, and I really enjoyed it. But it wasn't the same. There were a lot of things I didn't like about it. You just picking a robot, a mech, and it having the weapons be what they were. There were no interchanging like it was in 1. And I still played it because I loved it. I loved it. But the single player campaign, my God, it was like the old school Call of Duty in the future. It was just amazing, and I have a really good feeling that they're going to tell one hell of a Star Wars story. And you know what? Real quick, Centurion, I have to go to someone that just came in who is a regular panel member who was handling some family emergency. Cybernox, welcome to the show, my brother.
I'm here.
Yes, you
I'm
are.
Here,
yes,
What's
you
going
are.
On, chat? What's going on, panel? Sorry, I'm late. But we have to start the week off right, and prime time gaming. That's where we're at.
Well,
let's talk about some games. Get everybody hyped up. Let's go.
Yes. Well, you know what?
We're doing fine.
Well, we're talking about Star Wars. More specifically, we're talking about the Star Wars Jedi Fallen Order by Respawn Entertainment, and everyone's had a lot to say about Star Wars, what it meant for them when they were a kid, what it means to them as an adult. And someone like yourself, who you're a nerd like all of us, I'm sure that you have an appreciation for Star Wars. But more specifically, we are talking about the story building that Respawn Entertainment, that Vince Zampella and his team is known for. What are your expectations personally on the Star Wars story that not only is an original tale, but more importantly, canon to the current Star Wars? What are your thoughts on that, dude?
Oh man, let me tell you something. They could have not picked a better studio to take on this franchise. Respawn till this day have yet to provide a bad game. Titanfall 2, Apex, like that studio's caliber is like unquestioned. And for them to give them the Star Wars license to say, here, we trust you, give us something that the fans are gonna want, and especially what the fans are gonna love. And let me tell you something, from everything that we've seen till this day, that game looks promising. It looks like it's gonna deliver. Graphically, it looks amazing. The gameplay, it's going to be there. It's coming from Respawn. Like, the cast seems great. And, they can take this franchise now, depending on how this game does, and I think it's going to do pretty well. I think it's going to rejuvenate the Star Wars franchise. It's going to, keep elevating that storytelling and that gameplay. And I think they're going to knock it out of the park.
Yeah, I'm right there. I think everybody on the panel is in agreement with that statement. You're right. That's a great point. They could not have found a better developer, a more talented team of individuals.
Titanfall 2's single player campaign was absolutely phenomenal.
Yes,
there were things that they did on that game that it was just amazing. There's a part in the story that you're a little bit of a spoiler here if you haven't played Titanfall 2, but it's not really a spoiler. But you have a device that you can travel through time in that specific location.
Yeah,
traveling back through time, the characters are reacting to exactly what you're doing and talking to each other, telling them what you're doing. It's absolutely bananas.
It's brilliant, to be honest.
It's crazy. I was like, oh my God, what is going on here? But yeah, so I think the gameplay is gonna be there. I think they're doing a bit of the Dark Souls element, which feels very satisfying. You're gonna actually feel like a Jedi, in battling another Jedi or a Sith Lord. I can't wait for it. And the story, the cast seems great. I forgot the name of the main character who's playing the Jedi.
Yeah, well, he played the Joker in Gotham, the kid.
Yeah, and I think he was
Cameron
also
Monaghan.
There you go, Cameron. Yes.
Yeah, and you have some familiar faces too that are on, as the supporting.
Forrest Whitaker obviously is in the game, which is holy shit. That's.
So you got it's got tremendous potential. Let's just hope that they knock it out of the park, and I think my bet is that they will.
Yeah, no, I absolutely agree. Well, listen, dude. First of all, thanks for being here. I hope, of course, the family is doing well, and of course, we run a family first podcast. So anybody that has to step away for family reasons it's never a problem. But I want to move on to a pretty spicy topic. One of the spicier topics of tonight, in a story that I think is going to be a huge topic now, and after this podcast posts later on this evening, we have some big PlayStation 5 news that's going to be discussed, and we'll be talking not only the release date of the PlayStation 5, but also the price point. Now, I just want to say this, folks. Sit back and take a breath, because this is going to get good. Now, Sony itself has yet to confirm the PlayStation 5 when exactly in holiday of 2020 it's going to release. But according to several industry sources, we are led to believe that a firm December 2020 is going to be the release date for the next big PlayStation. Now, tweaktown.com is where I pulled this story. Their sources originally stated that Sony's next-gen PS5 will release in December. Now, at the beginning part of this story, they didn't provide an exact date. Now, I would say this. It seems like early December would be, of course, the best time to release the PlayStation 5, because not only is it going to sell like hotcakes because it's the PlayStation 5, but it's right before Christmas. Now, I don't think a lot of people remember this, but back in the days, right, when the PlayStation 1 was originally released here, it released on December 4th, so it is a very good chance that, Sony likes these dates. These dates are important to the brand, and I actually agree with that on two major points here. One, it's genius right before Christmas, and it's going to sell out, and it's going to be, folks, the eBay prices, stay away from them, because they're going to be $2,000-$3,000 for a PlayStation 5. Don't do it. Please don't do it. And then, of course, obviously, again, it's Christmas, so it's going to sell. But I want to talk about I want to say this, and I'm not turning this into a Microsoft thing. All I'm going to say is this: if in fact this is the case, and it is launching in December, I think it's genius for Sony. But this is where I say Microsoft needs to release the Xbox Scarlett in early October, giving them a strategic advantage. But I want to talk about the leaked price. And this is definitely going to cause some sticker shock for a lot of gamers who were expecting a $399.99 PS5 price point. And this is a drum that I have been banging for quite some time. Folks, the technology has just been confirmed in this thing. It's a beast, and it's the real deal. It has hardware ray tracing. That's not cheap. Okay, it's gonna have, it's gonna have the disc player in there. It's gonna be an 4K player like we have in the X, right? It's gonna have that. It's gonna have all the bells and whistles. This thing is not gonna be $400. But for the second part of this outstanding PS5 topic, the price has possibly been leaked by a retailer. And in a story pulled from comicbook.com, all PlayStation fans need to sit down, because this possible price is going to turn some remember I said that, non-hardcore fans away at the door when it comes to next generation. The PlayStation 5's price has reportedly been leaked, and the company is a European retailer, more specifically out of Slovakia. According to the retailer Pro Gaming Shop, the PlayStation 5 will in fact cost €500, which translate to roughly $558 United States price. In other words, if this price point is correct, emphasis on if they presumably the PS5 would cost between $500 and $550 in the United States, which would be $100 to $150 more than the PlayStation 4 at launch. Now, as you remember, the PlayStation 4 came in at $400 when it launched in 2013, $100 lower than the Xbox One. Now, like I said, interestingly enough, the product page says the console will release on December 4th, 2020, actually giving a specific date, which lines up with, like I talked about a few seconds ago, when the PlayStation 1 launched back in 1994. So, like I said, if you've been a Sony fan for a while, you know that they're big on these dates. Like, these dates mean something to them. They may not mean something to a lot of other companies, but this is what I love about Sony. They understand that the fan base, the rabid fan base that are just diehard Sony fans, will look back and say, wow, the PS1, December 4th, 94, they're coming all the way back around. And in 2020, December 4th, we're getting the PlayStation 5, fully realizing the circle of the PlayStation brand. So now I have to go on to the panel, okay? And I'm gonna start with Dreadpool on this because I want to get your opinion. What are your personal takes on the rumored? Again, folks, rumored. This is nothing. This is a grain of salt time. Nothing is confirmed. Rumored much higher price than the PlayStation 4, and a December launch could mean both Sony. What a December launch could mean to both Sony and Microsoft.
Would you mind if I hopped in on this?
No, please, by all means, come right on in. Come right on in.
Go ahead. Go ahead. I'm ready, but you go ahead.
No, if you want to go first, I always like hearing other people's opinions first, but I also did kind of some content on this, and I've been beating a drum a lot of people don't want to hear, but if you want to go first,
keep beating. Keep going.
In my world, I won't get into too much what I deal with personally in the line of work I'm in. I deal a lot with what's going on in the tariff situation.
Okay, very good.
People want to ignore that situation. I deal with shipping and receiving and putting stuff all over the United States involving steel goods and other manufactured materials. And I have seen certain products double in price due to some of these tariffs and taxes that we regretfully have absolutely no control over. This is just a section of the world that, sadly, it's the world we live in. There's people that make decisions that we really can't get to listen to us for whatever reason it is. But that's the only thing I'm worried. Everybody keeps this game of rounding down when it comes to these consoles, and I don't see them rounding down. I see them rounding up.
Dude, they're gonna have no choice.
See, that's where I have been beating the drum that the consoles are going to come in anywhere from $550 to $600 US. A high point in my mind was $625.
Wow, dude! Wow.
And there's reason. And now here's the thing, though. A lot of people don't understand the concept of it. I even said it in my video. Just because you're in an unaffected region of the world that isn't having these economic issues doesn't mean it's not going to affect you, because these console companies know by to get the price lower in one region, they're going to have to make it higher in another. There's going to be a balancing act. So there's going to be some people in this world that are paying more than they have to, so other people in this world can pay less than they have to, if that makes any sense.
We've seen that happen more times. It happens a lot in Canada. Canada is notorious for that, where we're paying, like, if you talk to So Shady, who's normally a panel member, he'll tell you that a game that we're paying $60, he's paying 80 Canadian dollars for.
Yeah, and that's where it just really gets concerning, and I've always thought of it as game streaming is going to be the industry's plan B, because they already know that the world economy could potentially price some people out of gaming. So products like PS Now or whatever game streaming service that PlayStation's cooking up, or xCloud even, they're able to kind of offset that to where, hey, you no longer need to fork out pretty much almost the price of a car for a console. You can get it through this service. Hey, it's not going to be ideal. It's not going to be that premium service, but it allows you to get, take the time to save up for that premium console, but you're still able to play games in between on a device. Definitely, I got to take the article itself, obviously, with a grain of salt, purely because, one, it came out of Slovakia, and in the article it said that they probably obtained this information.
They didn't unofficial. That's correct. They did obtain the information unofficially. So this is not something from Sony, folks. I want you to understand that, but it was still an interesting story nonetheless.
But definitely, again, like you were saying, the hardware they're putting in these things, we're talking, state-of-the-art GPUs. Some of them aren't even they're using parts in these consoles that aren't even available for PC yet.
That's correct.
They will be available for PC, yes, but at this point it has even been said that these consoles are going to do things that most PCs can't because of the technology that's being put into them that's not available on the market yet. On top of that, you have SSD drives. SSD drives aren't cheap. If you also look at some of the content that's been going around YouTube, some people have actually superimposed the chip numbers on top of the chips on the board for the Scarlett, and they've determined that these are actually product codes for Samsung RAM chips. So they're not using just some bottom of the barrel bargain basement hardware in this thing. They actually went to Samsung for some of their chipsets when it comes to the RAM. So they're actually building a very premium console for us, but that premium console also is going to come with a premium price.
Yes.
And it's definitely something like, I hope by every word of saying hope that I am completely wrong and that this console is $500 to $550, but at least I have my expectations when it comes to a price tag high, so that way I don't have that sticker shock.
Well, sticker shock. Listen, folks. Listen. I say this, and I'm not being frank. Gaming is an expensive hobby. Next gen gaming, and you said it yourself. I think there's going to be a line drawn in the sand because only the hardcore of the hardcore, meaning everyone on this panel, meaning everyone in this chat, the 100 plus people we got watching this show live right now, are probably going to be buying both. Now, what you're going to have to do, I hope I don't have to be like a hooker and get on the corner. But all I'm going to say is that I'm going to figure out a way to start. And I really mean this, folks. Growing up, I used to play with G.I. Joes. It was my favorite toy to play with. And, the figures themselves, they really weren't expensive. They came in singles. Sometimes they came in double packs, like Zaymot and Tomat, the evil twin brothers. But when the bigger vehicles came out, right, the premium vehicles, we're talking about the Killer Whale or the Cobra Rattler or the Hydro, the Cobra Hydro Thunder, I think it was called. My pop used to give me $5 a week for allowance for doing chores. So there was, you had to save up, folks. I'm telling you right now that when the holidays come around, ask for gift cards. Take those gift cards and put them away in your underwear drawer and forget you own them. And just start saving, because the only thing that I have to say about like the Scarlett side is the console is going to be $500. The only difference is that you're going to be able to go home if you're a Game Pass subscriber and play all of those first-party launch titles for your subscription price. Whereas I really, really want Sony to do the same thing before next generation. I understand that PS Now has come down, but I would really like to see their first parties there, day and date. And if they do that, they give the fans an opportunity to own both systems, because you're not forced buying. Because if you're going to buy the PlayStation 5, I guarantee you most people here are walking home with 3 games. Right, that's standard fare for a launch console. At least it's always been for me. And usually, I'm getting a second controller, which, by the price and the description of how amazing the PS5 controller is going to be, it's not going to be $60 like it's currently. It's probably going to be $80, maybe $90 per controller. So you put $90 on top of a $600 console after tax, right? Let's say it's $500 or $550, and then you package 3 games on that. Man, that's you're talking almost $1,000, and I'm not saying that I'm not going to buy it, because you bet your ass I'm going to. But I would like to not have to, if you know what I mean.
See, that's why I want the consoles to come out with a gap. I don't want Microsoft to release first just to beat them to the punch. I just want about a month and a half gap for my wallet to recover.
Well, that actually makes a lot of sense. You know, Dreadpool, I want to go to you, dude, because I know that you're chomping at the bit here to talk about this. What are your thoughts on the potential, folks, 500 to 550 PlayStation 5? Do you think that the technology in this beast is going to be worth the money, and are you a day one adopter?
Well, for the day one adoption, that's going to have to be a no. I just don't have that kind of funds to.
Okay.
But I am thinking that for the technology that they're putting in there, okay, this is technology that they have made up. This is technology that does not exist yet in PC. So you think about the R&D that they're putting in there. Okay, this is not how before they would just pull parts off the shelf and then, okay, well, I want this, now tweak it. No, they're literally going to these companies and saying, I need this made this way. This is the purpose for this part of this device. So when you want the RAM to incorporate with the CPU and you want the, I forgot the terminology, it just slipped my mind, but it's a fabric is what it's. Is
it the threading you're talking about?
No, not the hyper threading. It's a fabric between the PC, the memory, and the GPU. It's a fabric layer. It's some fabric terminology. But anyway, what it does is it meshes everything together for faster speeds. We don't have that in PCs right now. You know, even the brand new Ryzens don't have that just yet. The brand new the RTX 2080s, they don't have that stuff right now. They're not there, and they're creating stuff before PC even has it. And I know Forte is gonna step in on that too. But it's all, they're creating all this stuff. I mean, someone's gonna have to pay for it. You don't get this premium stuff that they just made, you know, for $400. There's no way. $600 is a good price point. It's pricey.
Well, I mean, think about this. What you're getting is technology like Centurion was saying doesn't exist. They made it up, and I'm not being, none of us are being facetious here. Like, they logistically, this is new tech, folks, and new tech, as we all know, costs big bread. Forte, you work at GameStop, and you have been through many console launches. You've seen the highs, you've seen the lows. What are your personal thoughts on the potential of sticker shock, and could the average Joe be boxed out, not just by the PlayStation 5, but by both consoles hitting $500+?
All right, so man, this is music to my ears, because I've been talking about this on Brap for the last 3 months.
Yes,
and Slow-Mo and Enrique and B Money and Eric, I told them, I was like, bro, this system, I didn't say the PlayStation would be, because I didn't know. I said the Xbox would be, but I said, this one of these systems is going to be north of 600 or north of it, because the stuff that they're talking about isn't even readily available in PCs yet. Like, people keep sitting there talking about it like, hey, these PC parts cost this much. I'm just like, well, think about how much the stuff you're talking about on a PC. A 2080, that's like $1,100 for like a TI. If you just want a regular version, you're gonna spend $800 to $900 just for the regular version. 13 to 14 if you want the TI version. And we're talking about stuff that these graphics cards don't even have. Then you throw solid state drives on top of that with faster than light transfer speed, M.2 type stuff. Oh man, dude, do you know how much an M.2 that drive costs? That gives you that type of speed to download and transfer speeds and load times on your games. It ain't cheap. And then you're talking about brand new architectures with CPUs running the Navi operator in both of these systems.
SSD drives.
Yeah, and then it's just, to me, 600. Well, let's be modest. 550 at the absolute lowest. Maybe 500.
Let's also not forget, it's not just your standard SSD drive. It's an NVMe drive that's being modified. So you're talking about 550 megabytes per second on a standard SSD drive, the Samsung plug-and-play SSD that you go in. These NVMEs are doing 35,000 megabytes per second and up. There's a 4.0 that just came out that is probably not going to be utilized to its potential.
Right, and the biggest thing for me is, I get it is, put it this way, the answer to your question is as bluntly as possible. Yes, there will be sticker shock out there because some people aren't going to be expected to spend $600 on a new system. But guess what? That's what you're going to have to do. I'm actually rooting for this in a certain way because I want that stigma of having to pay for luxury for the type of gaming you like to play. Like, I like upgrading my PC. I love doing it because it gives me the option to play games the way I want to do it. But guess what? It's such a stigma around that because people feel like, man, it costs too much to do this. It costs too much to do that. It's so expensive to get into that type of hobby when you want to do PC. But if you get a PlayStation or an Xbox that say, hey, PlayStation tried to do this back in 2007. The world wasn't ready for a $600 system back then. It just wasn't. Even if it had a DVD player in it, people wasn't spending $1,000 on a DVD player unless you had a job at GM or Chrysler. You don't buy something like that.
That's great.
So now Xbox proved you could sell a $500 system. Now, granted, people are going to say, well, Xbox One didn't sell as well. It actually sold pretty well. It just tapered off halfway through the generation because Sony was just that dominant with their marketing and strategy like that. But a $500 system is marketable. The Xbox One X actually bounced back sales for the Xbox at $500. So we already know a $500 system can do it. We already know that that's going to probably be the stepping stone for the next generation. Now, what I've been telling people for the last year, and if you don't want to believe it, I hear people saying they don't have the money to do it, which is fine because that is an expensive thing. Because, like you said, Boom, you jump in with a system at $500-$600, then you're thinking about extra controllers, you're thinking about games, and then if they want to launch like they did last time, a week apart from each other, you're gonna be like me, walking out of GameStop with over $1,800 worth of stuff in your hand, and half the stuff
having
you're
to
not
be escorted to your car.
You had to be escorted to your car, dude. I had to ask my wife for protection. I was like, I had to ask my wife for protection. I was like, hey, she said, why ain't you got the PlayStation yet? I was like, cause I got the Xbox. She's like, you should have your PlayStation. I was like, are you telling me I can go spend another $600-$700 on the PlayStation right now? She said, yeah, go ahead. I was like, oh, bet. Then I ended up with my PlayStation on that day. So ultimately, it just comes down to this. You know how much these systems have the potential to cost right now. I have a PlayStation 4 Pro right now, Spider-Man edition.
Nice.
The only reason I upgraded, like, granted, I didn't need the Spider-Man system because I had a PlayStation Pro already. But I'm thinking long term here. That PlayStation 4 Spider-Man system right now, I can sell it on eBay for the same amount of money I paid for.
Yes, sir.
And guess what? When the new system comes out, a month or so beforehand, there's going to be somebody out there that loves Spider-Man. That system is in pristine condition. I don't even use the controller for it just to make sure the controller is still in plastic. I don't even use that controller.
I love it.
I'll be able to turn around and sell that Spider-Man system for about the same amount that I got before. But if you are smart now, if you're a gamer now and you want to get one of these new systems, start saving your money now. Think about how much it's going to cost. If you want a PlayStation, start putting up $50 every month until that time comes out, because you do not want to miss out on what these games have to offer you next generation just because the money is an issue. We all know we're in a more informed society now. Now, the money just isn't there for you to do it, and I understand that. Like, maybe you're probably going to get married and move off and go on some honeymoon. I'd rather do that than buy a system. But if you don't have any plans like that and this is your hobby, I suggest save as much money as you can now. All of us got systems. trade those old systems in towards the new one. They're going to have some type of good trade-in deal, probably $200-$300, $200 off the new system, and that's going to be a good chunk of your money. But then just do your due diligence and save some money. And guess what? The games they already said are going to work going forward, so you don't have to spend all your money on games going out. And if you're an Xbox fan, you got Game Pass, so you don't even have to worry about games. So that right there is going to take half of the discussion now. So I'm excited. I just want to see. I want to see the industry move forward and not feel like we're constrained to just old tech. I want PCs to not be the be all when it comes
so
to
basically
gaming.
you say you want a piece of the master race. That's what you're saying.
Exactly. I want the consoles to be part of that because guess what? God dang it, more people play on consoles than they do on PC.
Yes,
So
sir.
that's what we need. So that's what I'm hoping for, and this is really good news to me. And Xbox coming out talking about frame rate ain't going to be a problem with the next Xbox with the CPU being as good as it is. That just tells me that system's going to probably be more than $600.
Well, I got news for you. We got a story that we're going to be breaking down on that particular subject on Thursday's Xbox Factor podcast. Some real choice words from Aaron Greenberg about frame rate and everything that we're going to be getting in this. So tune in for that.
Boom.
Yes, sir.
I just wanted to add on, no matter what the price of this console is, yeah, it's probably going to be a high price, but it's still going to be hundreds of dollars less than what it's going to take to find an equivalent PC.
Exactly.
Yeah, no doubt about it.
I have a PC right now that I do all my content on, that Dealer Gaming helped me pick out and everything and build, and it was pretty much the cost of 2 Xbox One X's.
Wow.
100%.
Wow.
Yeah, so
there were so many channels trying to replicate the Xbox One X when it first launched and trying to do what it did.
And couldn't.
And couldn't even match it. Not even close.
Do it.
Right.
There's no way.
You know
Yeah,
what I take away
Cybernox, so
from
you,
this?
being that you jumped in, what are your thoughts on the potential of a PS5 costing upwards of $500, $550, $600 after tax, and that's just to get you the console. That's not getting you an 80 to 90 second controller, which I think we're all going to get, and 2 to 3 games. What are your thoughts on it? And do you think that kind of sticker price? Because listen, I mean, we got to call a spade here, folks. The cool system, this almost in the entire generation, has been the PlayStation 4. And it doesn't matter what it is, the Pro, the Slim, the Spider-Man, the God of War, the Star Wars, the Call of Duty system that looked like it was from a different era and not Call of Duty. It's the cool system. But with that said, the casual market makeup, and I'm being frank here, I could be wrong, it could be a higher number, I'm going to lowball here, 75 to 80% of the 100 million consoles that have been sold are casual users because it's the cool system. There's a chance with that kind of a price point, even though it's going to be the cooler system with all its tech, could push people away from buying it. What are your thoughts, Cybernox?
Price-wise, I think with Forte, Centurion, and Dreadpool as well, I think you mentioned it as well, I think it's going to be anywhere between $500 and $600. And I don't think that's an unfair price for exactly what they're doing to those consoles. Okay, they're throwing a lot of new hardware, custom hardware that kind of like what everybody mentioned that you haven't even seen on certain PCs yet, or maybe no PC yet, and you're getting a system that you're not going to be able to replicate with the PC for that price. Even if it's at a high price at $600. Okay, kind of like what you guys alluded to. People need to be realistic on what these what these consoles can do now. They're not just something that's put together to play a certain type of game. These games are becoming bigger, they demand more. Some of these worlds are extremely large, and some of these games can do more and more, so you need to have the hardware to push it. I don't even think that the price is going to be the challenge for the PS5. Is the challenge is going to be kind of what you said, Boom. It's trying to justify, because we know the hardcore is going to get these consoles.
Yes.
Most of the hardcore gamers, we're all going to be there. We're all going to get a PS5. that price point for all these casual gamers who are still buying PS4s. How are you going to launch a new console next year, and there's still people, purchasing PS4s now? The casual market, that's where you need to focus on. For that $500 price, 500 euros, I think it's going to cost, right? From
Yes.
the article you got. If they wanted to be safe, they would just be 500 across every country. So it'd be 500 US dollars, euros, whichever currency, whatever country it's going to launch on. Sometimes, that can happen, but I don't expect it to be. I think it's going to be on the higher price. I think 550 is going to be more realistic. But yeah, like I said, they have another challenge here with this price point. They don't want to scare off buyers, but you do have some time to put
your money away. Absolutely,
put
smart.
your money away. Start saving up, because these consoles are gonna push. They're gonna push their hardware to the limit, I believe. It's going to be another challenge too, is just what games are going to launch with this to justify the price as well. The big jump from the 360 and the PS3 to this generation was amazing. You could definitely see the difference in resolution and power and things like that. Going into the next generation, you're not going to see as much, in my opinion. You're going to see more 4K games. You're going to see more 60 frames per second, maybe even 4K 60. But to the casual gamer, there's a lot of people who 4K TVs. So how do you justify that? But I personally don't think that the $500 or $600 price point is an unfair price. I think that's actually going to be the price of the consoles next year.
Well, I mean, again, it's all about the tech that's inside, and they really are building some beasts. Clowns, before I get to you on the final point of this amazing topic, I have to thank Gamer by Choice for the outstanding and extremely generous $10 super chat. He says, "This is a great show. I'm preparing for $650 for each." That's smart. I hope I'm not wrong. If not, I do have organs to sell. Well, don't do that. You want to keep those organs because you want to stay alive and play games. But $650 per console seems about right. Now, listen, clowns. Mark Cerny. We know him as the walking computer, the genius of what the PlayStation 5 is in fact going to be. We know that he's been very vocal talking about it. We knew about the SSD drive. We know about the confirmed hardware ray tracing, and all the bells and whistles that are going to come with the PlayStation 5. In your opinion, are you in agreement with this panel, most of the chat, about it being $500+ for the next big PlayStation, and could this price scare some of the common gamers known as the casual market off from moving into the next generation? What are your thoughts on that, dude?
Yeah, I gotta say, I think this panel really went over it pretty well. I think 500 is going to be the target price point for this. I think it will scare some casual consumers, and there's a switch for that. But yeah, it's going to be up there. And then Centurion brought up a good point about tariffs, and that is one thing that I am concerned about going forward. And it's something we have no control over. It's politics and global markets, but hopefully it gets worked out for the video game sector, and we don't see price hikes due to tariffs. But 500 would be a fair price point for what these things have. I wouldn't be surprised if it was a little bit higher at launch. And hopefully, Xbox and PS5 compete with each other, and one tries to go a little bit lower than the other, because that'd be some nice wallet-saving coupon there. But yeah, this panel's spot on with everything.
Yeah, listen, it's gonna be very interesting, because now, some people may not want to hear this, and this is not me picking sides, folks. I support all three consoles this generation, and will support all three. And when I say all three, there's rumors of a Switch Pro next year as well. We'll see. But I'm obviously getting a PS5. I'm obviously getting a Scarlett, and if the Pro comes out, the Switch Pro, I'll be getting that as well.
And if people are looking to get a Scarlett as well next year, Microsoft offers tons of incentives that they can help you out, cut down the cost. If you're looking to get a Scarlett, look into Microsoft Rewards program. That thing will help you out. Trust me.
I just paid for half of the Star Wars game with the points.
Everything you do across the Microsoft or Xbox ecosystem all goes into this Microsoft Rewards program, which you can redeem for multiple things.
I just got 6,000 points for buying Call of Duty.
Points for purchasing digital content, not just games. We're talking about if you're going to go buy a new laptop, take a look at the Microsoft Online Store, sign up for the Microsoft Rewards program, and trust me, you can redeem that for up to a $100 gift card. I think like 90,000 points, and you can easily do it. Especially now with the Microsoft Rewards program going, you have the Quest on Xbox, searches on your PC and mobile, anything you do, and that's going to help you out tremendously. By next year.
I got 163,000 points right now.
Jesus.
I've been saving them for the last year and a half.
Dude,
wow.
That's freaking that's bananas.
No, I already have over $150 off my next Xbox. That's another thing. So you can. So that's a way, like he
I got
just said.
127,000.
Yeah, see, that's a way right there that you can use that to supplement your next Xbox. It's because they'll send you a gift card. You can pick a gift card for Xbox. You can pick a gift card for the Microsoft Store.
Yes.
So you can order your Xbox directly through your Xbox you have right now, and they deliver it to your house, and you just pay the difference. So if you're smart, over the next year, you can literally get $100 off your next Xbox by just spending 5 minutes of your day taking quizzes and going to websites.
Playing games. Just go to the They have an app also on the Xbox. Yep. It's called the Microsoft Rewards app. Just go there, and then sometimes they'll have certain quests that all you have to do
is up there right now.
Yeah, 6,000 points. All you do is buy it.
Yep.
Yes.
Yep, if you're buying Call of Duty, same thing. And guess what? It works on Game Pass games too, because Gears of War was up there the first week it was out, and you got 6,000 points for a game that you didn't even buy.
Yeah. Well, first of all, before we go any further, holy effing S. Wilmy Hood, who we know as not only being a very generous human being, a die-hard gamer who is a community superstar, in my opinion, just drops an unfreaking believable $50 super chat. He says, wow. I mean, that is like, wow, dude. He says, play what you want on whatever platform you choose. Just be a gamer. Words to live by. Wilmy, first of all, dude, thank you for being here. We definitely got to get you on the show as a guest. I'm gonna hit you up in the DM after the show. We got to talk. And dude, the generosity is wow, dude. Completely blown my mind. Thank you very, very much. But
speaking of his generosity, Boom, did you check out his show last Wednesday?
I did not, dude. I just been.
Dude, I won one of the copies of Ghost Recon Breakpoint, but
he gave away like 20 plus copies. No, I'm just kidding.
He gave away like 4 copies of Ghost Recon Breakpoint, 2 copies of Concrete Genie, and him and Forkboy are holding some kind of a contest for you to win a console of your choice. And on Saltiest Gaming, they were also able to give away a console in a Gleam giveaway, and it went to Patman Gaming, and again, it was a console of his choice, and he wasn't just giving away here's the standard version of a console. They were saying you could even pick the Xbox One X or the PS4 Pro.
Wow. Well, I mean, listen, the generosity is just not... Listen, I'm happy for people just showing up here and enjoying the program. The fact that you were nice enough to drop that kind of a super chat, dude, that is really, dude, unbelievable, and I'm absolutely grateful. But you know what? I want to move on to the second part of the tasty part of this particular show. And if you just give me a second, I am now currently, many people in the community have asked for it. I am doing in the show notes, if you know in the last couple of shows, I'm time stamping each individual topic. I thought it was going to be a lot harder than it was, and I'm actually a little behind today because I was so into the show, I actually forgot to write down. So I'm going to listen to the show on the back end to make sure I get that out there, because some people, they don't have 2 hours to listen to. They want to listen to a particular topic. But this next one is a good one. And, you know, everyone was talking about Xbox, like about Xbox points and what the next Xbox is going to be. Well, Phil Maximus Dominus Spencer has officially taken off the kid gloves and has made some very bold comments to GameIndustry.biz and says these things. It would be nice to buy a Japanese studio. He's very taken aback with the runaway success of Game Pass and the impact of streaming in the next generation, and why he's not afraid of Google. Speaking to GameIndustry.biz, head of Xbox, Phil Spencer, admits that the spending spree, folks, get ready for this, is in no means over. The strategy will be familiar to anyone who has followed the Netflix story. The TV streaming platform reportedly spent between 12 and 13 billion on content last year, and that number is expected to rise again this year. Now we're talking about Netflix, and they're comparing them for a reason, so get ready. This is what Phil Spencer has to say. They're a growing business. I think they've done a very good job of investing into where they see the business is going. For us, as Microsoft, it is one of the things about having the support of the company behind us. Satya Nadella, our CEO, and Amy Hood, our CFO, and our board see gaming as an important growth category. You can look at our P&L of our company. We're not spending $12 billion on video games today, but as subscriptions grow and reach more customers, I do think it's important for us to continue to invest in content. It's not every year we'll add 7 new studios, but I do think us looking at specific targets that we need is important. Now, he continues. One of the things I love about Tim Schafer and the team at Double Fine is that they build different games to what our other studios build. And that's a strength, because just like in video, just like in music, there isn't one song that everyone loves. There isn't one movie or even one genre that everyone loves. So with Game Pass, we think about millions of different players and the different kind of games they will play. The diversity is important. Now, this is where he continues. I think it'd be nice if we found an Asian studio, in particular a Japanese studio, to add to our Microsoft first party. I liked it when we had some first party capability in Japan. We have a small team there now, but I think we can do more. That said, through our trips to Japan, I love having Phantasy Star back on our stage with Sega. I thought it was fantastic. Miyazaki-san, before the Dark Souls, and now even Elden Ring on our stage. The Japanese creators have shown up more and more, and it's getting bigger and bigger. Now, this is my opinion. This is Phil's nice way of saying that they know that they want to be the big dogs in gaming. Sure, they lost this particular generation with poor leadership, mishandling of messaging, and falling short on first-party exclusives. That is, we all know that. This isn't coming off as a surprise. But all of that is fixed, and in no way, folks, by accident. Everything is happening because Phil Spencer's vision and why he was promoted in 2017. The dormant Xbox is returning, and of course, I don't think that either of Sony or Nintendo are going to just lie down. This is going to be a real fight come next gen. But I'm going to tell you this. It's going to be a much different next gen that this time around. Enough said. Now, I want to go to my panel on this because I know everyone here is excited to talk about this particular topic, and I want to go to Gaming Forte first. What are your thoughts on Phil Spencer? And more importantly, do you agree with me that when I say Microsoft, or more specifically, Phil Spencer has taken off the kid gloves going into the next generation, and that Microsoft themselves are serious about winning?
All right, so this is my thought process on Microsoft. Now, Phil Spencer has pushed all the right buttons ever since he's been the head of Xbox. You know, he's brung the system back from a place that a lot of people didn't expect the system to be over the last couple of years. And not only has he sales for the console and stuff withstanding, but when it comes to like the things he said he was going to focus on, he did. He said he was going to focus on the platform. He said the platform is going to be better. He did that. He said I'm going to focus on getting us a better system. He did that with the Xbox One X. He said I'm going to focus on Xbox Live. I'm going to get that back up the way it needs to be. He got that going. Now he's focusing on games. Part of that plan was getting all the studios he has. Now he's rounding out those studios by getting the games and getting the publishers and going after some of these marketing deals that a lot of people thought they should have been doing throughout this whole generation. And now they're working on the service side. So the one thing I really appreciate with Microsoft right now is because they're being who they should have been the whole generation. They're not a company that should be following anybody. Xbox Live is as good as it is because of who they made it that way. They created Xbox Live. They took something someone else had and innovated on it on a console level and was the first to market to do it the best that you can do it. They're doing the same thing with Project xCloud. That's what they're trying to do. That's going to be the next thing that they're trying to do. I like the fact that they aren't trying to be something that they aren't. They're not trying to be this overall company that says we want to cover you and say these games, or we're going to make these type of games for you and stuff. Like, no, Microsoft is going to be about, hey, we're going to make games for everyone. Yes. And there's going to be a game for somebody.
Yeah, and inclusion is a big marketing piece for them.
Allow you to be able to play you want to play them. And that all starts with Game Pass and it finishes out with xCloud, and it's going to continue with the next system that's coming out with the new Xbox. So I believe Microsoft and Phil Spencer himself, he right now he's standing on a high pedestal. The biggest thing that I need them to do going forward is just deliver on the one thing that they haven't delivered on consistently through this whole generation is the games. They have done an amazing job over the last year and a half with bringing us games to the system, but now it's time to basically just it's like put up or shut up right now when it comes to this. Some people get tired of Phil Spencer going out there and talking because we're always saying we're waiting to the next E3 or we're waiting to the next Xbox comes out to show what we're going to do. Well, what is the next Xbox going to do for us when it comes to the games? Well, honestly, it's just going to take time, and I'm willing to give them the time to wait for this because everything that he said he was going to do,
he did.
He done. He did it. He did everything he said he was going to do. So when people say, well, what about this? What about that? I was like, dude, just wait. Game development takes the longest of everything. It's a finite line. It takes a lot of money, and there's no margin in it. The only way you make margin in it if you sell the games. So they want to do what they need to do to make that happen. And on top of that, they want to grow their base and become what they needed to be in the first place, which is a company that focuses on software and services, not the hardware, because the hardware, and people are going to sit there and say, well, they only talk about hardware now because they can't sell it. No, Microsoft has always been a software company. They've always been a service company. That's why all of their services do as well as they do, because that's what their wheelhouse is. And now Microsoft finally understands that, and they're going to dig deep and lean into that. That's why they can offer Game Pass for $1 or $2 for 2 months, because they don't have to worry about money. They just have to get people in the infrastructure and into the ecosystem. And the more and more people that get into that and see what they have to offer, is going to be even better. And that's when Phil Spencer's plan is going to come all into place, because I believe it's not going to be this generation that they're really working on. It's the next generation, and not just the console. It's what's going to happen outside of that once they start rolling out xCloud and rolling out Game Pass to all these different devices and stuff. You know, people think they just laugh at it right now and say, hey, 2 billion people. Well, yeah, they're not going to hit 2 billion people because those 2 million people play a lot of different games. But what happens if they hit 600 million of them? What happens if they hit 500 million? That's all that really matters, because sales for games is all that matters in the end. So I think they're looking at the bigger picture now, and some people are going to probably call us shields for saying, well, you guys just love Microsoft. But I just believe they're doing what's best for their company. Phil Spencer is doing what's best for his people and for the company that he likes to be a part of. And that is the number one thing I'm super happy for. And I just want to see them continue to keep doing that through the rest of this year, going through the next generation, and and from now on when it comes to everything Xbox.
Yeah, no, the really, really fantastic points. Real quick, Cedric H with the outstanding and extremely generous $10 super chat. He says, "What's up to you, Boom and panel?" And I say, "What's up to you? Thanks for being here, dude. It's greatly appreciated." You know, Dreadpool, I want to go to you next on this one. Now, listen, there is no doubt. We had a nice, really big PlayStation topic, and I think that closing out today's absolutely insane show with a huge Xbox topic is going to be like good bookends, even though they're one after another. Phil Spencer made a lot of statements. Now, we have heard that a Japanese studio is either going to be purchased. Now, again, folks, we have to understand the laws for Japan are very strict about having an American company by a Japanese company. Now, that might be a hurdle for some, but we've also heard that Microsoft, just like they created the initiative with that ridiculous talent that keeps being added to that, we have heard there is a potential that they're building a studio with some of Japan's greatest developers to be the Japanese, that part of the world, basically the Japanese initiative. And I think that's brilliant. I think it's brilliant because Japan, most of Asia, as a matter of fact, consoles do not. PlayStation 4, even the PlayStation 4 suffering there. What's not suffering there? The Nintendo Switch, right? Why? It's portable. The Japanese culture, the Asian culture, has moved away from console gaming to portable gaming on the go. xCloud, this is where xCloud comes in. If they could get people to subscribe to Game Pass, to play on their phones with a controller in their hand, and they have a Japanese studio that's been made from the ground up with some of Japan's biggest names, there's potential. In your opinion, what are your thoughts on not only we'd love to buy a Japanese studio, but what are your thoughts on how Phil Spencer is going to lead the Xbox nation into the next generation?
Well, first of all, software is in the name Microsoft. That's
yes,
what
sir.
It specializes.
Yes.
Software. And I'm glad they finally realized what they do. And they moved on and started actually utilizing their strengths. For them to open up a company in Japan, obviously we know the legalities. So for them to start something there is a great idea. I was saying from the get-go when Phil was going over there and doing his trips, I believe I said it on one of the first podcasts I was on with you, he's there to set up shop.
Yes,
he's
sir.
To set something up to buy a company. You can't do it without having something established. So he's trying to establish it, whether or not it's to build a new studio or buy another studio. And what I said originally was to buy a studio. And the first studio the only studio that I could think of for them to buy is a studio that has a variety of games.
Right.
And that's Sega, and everybody's been putting it in the chat.
Nah, dude, that would be ridiculous.
To me, they have plenty of IPs to work off of, Plus, being that they are in that area, they can pull people into their studio. They can, so they can either, they can go both ways. They can buy a company. I just don't see them buying like From Software. I don't see, you know what I mean?
That's a big one, man. I don't know.
So for something like that, and on top of that, if they're building another studio like they did with the Initiative, that's even better, because now you have a studio with new money going into it, and you also have a studio with old money and new money going to invest into it. So you got the old mentality of what they had before, and building the newer stuff. Let's get newer generations in here with their ideas and building what they want to play. So and they're in Korea with Project X Cloud.
Yes, sir. Great point.
They're testing there. They're testing their software. They're testing their services. That's what it's all about. So I see it, and like I said a year ago, I saw it as a good thing. I see it as a clear-cut idea. It's not this person here stepping in and overbounds. It seems to be like a collective idea as, hey, this is what we're going to do. This is the way we're going to do it. And this is how we're going to go about doing it. Us as the public do not see that. We don't know what's going on in the back doors. We just know what we can see, and we're speculating. So, if they build a studio or buy a studio, they're headed in the right direction. We want more Japanese-style games.
Yes, we certainly do.
Japanese-style thinking of gameplay. So it doesn't have to be that. They're so close. They can pull people from Japan over, or other countries in Asia over, or bring some of our people on the West Coast over there to also learn. And because we have a big infatuation with Japan games. So why not send some of our people there? If they're so infatuated, let's learn from the best.
Yes.
This is their style of game. Let's mix it up. Let's learn what we have. Let's learn what they have, and build a better studio.
That's actually a great point. I gotta be honest. There's been a lot of talk about who they could potentially buy, and we again, I say that loosely because Japan is very protective. So Shady said that in the chat. And real quick, I have to thank LMNOP for not only the $3 super chat, he's here, community stud that he is, even though he doesn't feel well, is still in the chat interacting. So LMNOP, thank you so much for the super chat, but more importantly, for hanging out with us. We do appreciate that. Clowns, I want to go to you real quick because Dreadpool has brought up a lot of great points. And for me personally, and you obviously keep your ear to the floor because you have, you're a content creator extraordinaire, and you run and you're always talking about different things. We've heard Microsoft's going to buy Platinum Games. It's not going to happen. I've heard Team Ninja, right? That'd be great. I would just like for them to team up with Team Ninja and reboot Ninja Gaiden. I'll take that like they did on the OG Xbox. But for me personally, as someone wanting to see exactly what Dreadpool was talking about, getting the new young talent, making games that they want to play, that gamers on the Xbox side have only seen released on the PlayStation brand. We want those games, right? We want those as first-party games. And I personally would love to see them build a studio in the vein of the Initiative in regards to talent and really dig their heels in Japan. What are your thoughts on Phil Spencer's comments regarding making Japanese gaming important to American Xbox players?
Well, I think it's a huge acknowledgement from the guy in charge of Xbox that he recognizes to the fact that JRPGs and Japanese style games do well here, especially even on PS4, Nintendo 3DS, and the Switch. So I think I know that you mentioned from the ground up. I don't necessarily think that's the smartest idea.
Okay.
And I'll say this because when you get a bunch of new developers together and form a team, it's trial and error. You never know what's going to work, what's going to mix, what doesn't mix, who's going to get let go, who's going to leave. So I think something like, and a lot of people are going to criticize me for this thought, but I think it would be very smart for Microsoft and Xbox to enter in agreements with Sega, who owns Atlas, to maybe either buy Atlas or a significant partnership in Atlas, or Xseed. And I say that because they have a huge niche following. They're very successful.
Xseed has a fantastic dev, dude.
They are, and they have a huge following, and it's a strong niche. People that like that stuff will buy it, and they have the the history, the experience that's needed to make a successful Japanese port to the West. And I think if Microsoft's going to spend their money wisely, they'd want to do it on a team first that has been successful, that can continue that success and bring that over to Xbox. And at the same time, we know Phil is a nice guy. He's not going to say, hey, you, if we buy you or we acquire you or a partnership in you, we're just going to keep you on Xbox closed. No, he's not going to do that. He's still going to allow them to do stuff for Nintendo and PlayStation. And that would be more revenue coming into Microsoft and Xbox in general. And that's a smart move, because people at the PlayStation side, their fans won't get upset. Xbox fans will be excited. And Microsoft's making all this money in the meantime on a successful strategy.
It's a win-win-win for everyone, right? It's a win for the fans. It's a win for Microsoft. It's a win for the company. Absolutely. Those are really, really great points. Centurion, being that you're our guest today, like Dreadpool, I want to go to you on this. What are your thoughts on the comments from Phil Spencer, but more specifically, do you think that he has the right mindset to lead the Xbox in the next generation, and not only lead it, but win in the next generation, with everything he had to say in this to sit down with GameIndustry.biz?
Well, I did like in the article that he stated that the spending spree wasn't over, and
yes,
I'm a firm believer in, to make money, you got to spend money. Now, I will be truthful, I haven't dabbled too much into that side of the world when it comes to gaming, but there is some games, like I did play Final Fantasy growing up as a kid. I even played Final Fantasy 10, I believe it was, on the Xbox One. So I have dabbled a little bit, but I don't have a huge background in it. If we do talk about building a studio over in that part of the world, to start one off from scratch, I have to agree with Clowns. You wouldn't want to hand the keys over to a completely new, and I hate to use the term loosely, but rookie developers. But there is a lot of relevant developers over there in that part of the world. Like, we see how the Initiative is scoring some of the biggest names in this part of the world when it comes to gaming. It wouldn't be that hard to start a studio over there and actually pick up some of the more relevant names in gaming over there to lead a team into creating a new franchise, or to even possibly pick up an existing one. Because we do know that they are friends with Sega. Phil Spencer's been over there with Sega. So it wouldn't be that hard to kind of strike up that conversation of, hey, is there by any chance a franchise that we could use or buy from you, something that we could build off of? With the whole thing with Sega, I'm definitely interested in seeing what happens with Phantasy Star, because I never got to really experience that game, so I definitely want to check it out now. Gosh, now I feel like I'm going all over the place, because this was actually a huge conversation. This could be a whole show in itself. The whole concept that he used of Netflix, though, there is some out there that say that Netflix has what they call an unsustainable business model for the amount of money that they're putting out compared to the amount of money that they're bringing in. Definitely Phil Spencer, though, I don't think exactly is in that same situation. Man, just trying to think about it. I'm sorry, I'm kind of having a mind lapse on the whole thing, purely because it's just how I don't want to. He's done such a great job. We had no studios. He bought studios. We had a lack in power. he spent the money to redesign the console. Phil Spencer, since he was promoted to his position in 2017 to be officially in charge of the brand, has totally changed it night and day compared to what it was.
Yes.
And definitely anything that Phil Spencer wants to do, I'm not one of those people that's going to stand behind him and say that everything he does is, absolutely untouchable and a great idea. But I am willing to give him the benefit of the doubt in anything he wants to try to do. I'm willing to see it play out, just because sometimes it's hard to see his full vision until it's right in front of you, if that makes any sense.
No, he's notorious for playing the long game. He's a chess player, and I'm not taking away from anything that Nintendo does or what Sony has done. Not discounting any of that. Those are huge successes, but you have to understand where they were to where they are now. You said it, night and day.
And I remember in the press release with PlayStation, remember when PlayStation said we're going to crouch down and get ready to rise up for next gen, or however they put it out there for their stockholders. I'm pretty sure that Phil Spencer and the rest of Microsoft and Xbox are holding to that same idea. They're going to basically ride out the rest of this gen because, yes, sadly, PlayStation has killed it. There is no competition there. When you're selling consoles 2-1, there's no point in trying to throw all this money out to try to catch up to that, because that's actually an unfathomable number that you could come up with in that short amount of time. So definitely they're crouching down. They're just biding their time and waiting to get ready for next gen. And when next gen comes around, they're wanting to hit the ground running to make up for lost time in this gen.
Yeah, that's a great point. And we also, we're going to finish off the year with XO19 in London. And from what we understand, there's going to be some big surprises there. It's another topic that we're going to go into deep on Thursdays.
I haven't been this much excited for an XO in a long time. I mean, it's starting to get almost like that E3 feel. But I'm not trying to get no one's hopes up, because we all know it's not an E3. But it's still getting that whole E3 feel, oh man, I'm gonna have to probably invite some friends over, and we're all gonna have to watch this together.
That's a great point. Yeah, it's certainly gonna turn into anyway. I believe it's gonna be a popcorn kind of a fest where you're gonna be sitting at the end of your seat, and really excited. And Aaron Greenberg said they do have surprises. What surprises, we don't know. I think we're gonna get at least a studio or two announcement. There's been the old Fable. They're going to get out there and put Fable out there. Say, hey, listen, this team is working on it. We have nothing to show, but maybe flash a logo. Who's to know? Who's to say? But Cybernox, I want to get your final point on this before we get everybody out of here, because we are closing in on 2 hours, and this has been one hell of a show. Phil Spencer, he's the type of businessman that walks silently and carries a very big stick. Some people say he's too soft. He needs to be going for the juggler. And I like to, and I said a few minutes ago, he plays the long game. Sometimes Phil says things and they do things for Microsoft that don't necessarily make sense initially. But when it's played out over the course of 6 months or 12 months or 18 months, the picture starts to get real clear. And I want your opinion on how big of an impact, how different of a generation do you believe Phil Spencer is going to be bringing to the Xbox fans who have stayed loyal to the brand and are excited for the Xbox Scarlett launching in holiday of 2020?
Oh, you already know, Boom. Let's just give a shout out, first of all, to Phil Maximus Dominus and everything that he has done for the Xbox platform. Because honestly, without him, shout out to the Iron Lords, by the way.
Yeah, that King came up with it. It's actually Phil Dominus Maximus. I said it backwards.
Phil Dominus Maximus.
Yeah, there you go. Shout out to the
Without
king.
him, yeah, I don't think Xbox would be in the place where they are now. Maybe Xbox wouldn't even be here. I think he has put Xbox in a place that will be extremely successful, a place that they can succeed for the next gen, and you can see, breadcrumbs of that now.
Yes.
They're not just doing everything for consumers; they're doing things for gaming as well. When it comes to the Japanese developer, it makes tremendous sense. You buy an established studio over there and add it to their Xbox game studios. And I think the icing on the caking is going to be xCloud.
Yeah.
You alluded to earlier, Boom. With xCloud, you're going to be able to use this feature or the subscription pretty much on any portable device, which is going to be amazing. And Xbox has never had success in Japan,
Right.
but maybe with this technology it will. And if you just think about everything that Phil has done for the Xbox community and going forward, we now have the most powerful console playing games at native 4K, sometimes even 4K 4K 60. We have Play Anywhere, we have Game Pass, that is by far the most valuable subscription service out there for gaming. You're getting quality gaming since day one.
First party too.
First party from Microsoft Studios. How many people played Gears day one on Xbox Game Pass? Because it's there, and you can try it for $9.99. And if you don't want to keep the subscription service, go ahead and cancel it. They're not holding you to it. And that moving forward, it's gonna be a tremendous value that people are not gonna take for granted. I'm telling you right now. It's gonna launch with Halo Infinite. It's gonna be amazing. It's gonna launch with the Scarlett. Phil Spencer has done a tremendous job putting us Xbox fans in a place where we're gonna be proud of the platform next gen. So I can't wait to see next. I know a lot of people make fun of next E3, but this E3 coming up, boy, you better be ready. They got a lot to show and a lot to prove. So I think they're gonna come with all guns blazing.
Yeah, no, that's everyone had great points on this, and it's funny because when I say take off the gloves, I don't necessarily mean he's going to go beat up anybody. He's not going to go beat up Bowser from Nintendo or whoever's running Sony. What I mean by that is, he is someone that understood there were failings that unfortunately dominated this generation. Now, they had some success, obviously, and he turned the ship around. But like he said in that interview, he has the backing of Satya Nadella. And we also know that Microsoft knows how important and how much money there is in gaming. And they are not taking any chances. They are crossing all of their T's. They're dotting all of their I's. And next generation is going to be a clean slate for everyone. And it's going to be real interesting to see that not only how they end 2019 with XO19 in London, but how they start next year. And of course, the console wars are going to be in full effect come holiday of 2020. But I'm going to say this first of all, we broke numbers and records for today's show. We had almost 130 people watching live. It might have been even more, and maybe I missed it. That is big numbers for a show that's only had 7 episodes. So a big thank you to this outrageously incredible community for coming out and supporting something that we really and truly love doing each and every week. And the super chats, my God, what can I say? It's just been, the generosity is just not to be believed, and I honestly cannot thank you guys enough. Of course, my panel, which is I have my regular members here. Thank you for being here each and every week. It is an honor and a pleasure, and of course, the 2 guests in Dreadpool, of course, and my other making his debut here, which is fantastic, is Centurion, who. Listen, folks, I'm a fan of this dude, and if you're not subbed to his channel, my God, please stop it. Sub both of them. But let's get into the actual rollouts. And Centurion, I want to start with you. You came on the scene. You've been on multiple podcasts. You're on weekly podcasts, from what I understand. But your channel is something I think you got special. And I say that because when you talk about games, you bring the knowledge, you bring the facts, you make people think when they're listening to your content. That's not easy to do. I know, because I do the research and I see that you do it as well. Please tell everyone where not only can they follow you on social media, but more importantly, head over, hit that subscribe button to your amazing and growing YouTube channel.
Well, thank you once again for giving me the confidence to continue doing this. I love making it factual. I do find it very fun. Definitely getting like wrapped up in some of these other videos that I've been making. I love bringing facts because last thing I ever want to have is somebody thinking that I'm just saying things to get clicks. That isn't me at all.
No, not at all.
And I also try to avoid, I know I'm an Xbox fan, but I definitely try to avoid the console war shenanigans. I do prefer Xbox over PlayStation, but I do own a PlayStation, a PS4 Pro. I enjoy their exclusives. I will admit that the single player experiences on the PlayStation are above par compared to what Xbox has been putting out for the most part. Xbox has had some good bangers themselves, Gears 5 included. But anyways, you can always find me on Twitter and YouTube and Xbox Live at Centurion1307. I also do podcasts with Saltiest Gaming on Thursdays, PTK Blam on the Shop Podcast on Saturdays, and I am part of the Xbox Roundtable on TXR with Invader, Tim Dog, Megatron, Shockley, Southbound, The Downer. It's a very big cast and awesome group of guys that have really explained a lot of the ins and outs of the industry to me, and they're just so full of knowledge that I just enjoy listening to all their stories that they have about going to E3. But you can also find me on my blog or website, whatever you'd like to call it. It's legionofgamer.com. It started out as a concept just to kind of just put content there, so that way you didn't have to worry about some of the rules and restrictions of other places. But definitely it turned into something that I'm actually really happy with. There's even a preferred content creators page there where, people that I interact with and just basically kind of, have no problem standing behind them. They end up on that page. I actually need to end up on it. But BoomStick, you were actually the second person to be added right underneath Dealer Gaming because you guys definitely helped shape the content creator that I am.
Well, that's very kind of you to say. And listen, dude, to be in the same sentence as Dealer Gaming, who not only do I respect, but I look up to because his content is amazing, is really humbling and it's greatly appreciated. And again, you knocked it out of the park, and this will certainly not be your last appearance on any of the Double Barrel Gaming shows that we have. Thank you, of course, for being here. And Dreadpool, listen, what could we say that we didn't already say in your opening? Not only are you a superhero to me personally, where you have swooped in and helped out numerous times on, when you run a show, sometimes people have, real life gets in the way, and you just have to figure it out. And you've helped me out more times than not. But more importantly, your gaming knowledge and your technical knowledge is something to behold. And you had an unboxing for an Elite controller on your channel that was pretty damn awesome. I'd like you to tell people about that. But more importantly, because you're a community staple. You come out and you support everyone that's a content creator. You're always in the chat, and we do greatly appreciate that support. Tell everyone where we can support you, not only on Twitter, but check out your YouTube channel.
Yes, thank you for having me. I'm glad I could help out. Luckily, this week I'm on vacation.
Nice.
So I'm actually able to do the nights like a normal person, So this is awesome for me. You can find me on Twitter at Dreadpool, and it's zeros instead of O's. Same thing with YouTube. It's Dreadpool, Mixer, and my Xbox gamer tag is Dreadpool. As you were saying, the unboxing, I won an Elite controller,
unbelievable,
with a custom graphic from Forkboy Gaming, and it's a model from Lifetime Controllers. They did the graphics. They take old controllers that are falling apart, and they take the good pieces and build them back together, and then they put like a little warranty on them, and it's the quality that I got. I swear to God, it's a brand new controller.
Well, dude, tell everybody about the graphics on that controller. What exactly it is?
The graphics. It's a horror graphics. Okay, it's a whole bunch of horror genre characters. You got Freddy Krueger.
I saw Chucky. I saw Chucky in there.
You got a lot of oddball ones too, because we had to sit there. We're looking at it, we're like, oh, that's from Killer Clowns. This is from this one. So we're picking it apart. And the best part was all the lovely comments I got. I have beautiful, delicate hands.
That's awesome. I love it. That's great.
Yeah, I'm like, are you guys serious? Those are my wife's hands, not mine. And then you see my daughter bringing her hand in there too, and I'm like, looks like she's got 3 hands. I mean, it's hysterical. But yeah, I appreciate the opportunity that Fork Boy puts out there. Same thing with Woomy Hood. I've been playing Borderlands 3 like nonstop. I had to stop a couple times and actually play some other games, but I won that on RDX. He put that game up there. Yeah, so I mean, this community is growing in a positive way.
Yes,
and that's what we need. You know.
I was just wanting to ask you real quick. Did Chance put the Larry Herb white gloves on when you did the unboxing?
No, I put my wife's hands in front of it instead of my own.
That's great.
No white gloves. Yeah. So, yeah, it was great, you know. But the best part is I won a controller, and I lost it before I even unboxed it.
Yeah, because everyone else is using it. Yeah.
No, I saw the picture. My wife's like, "That's mine."
Oh, well, there you go.
Oh, are you kidding me? But you know, she deserves it. She does everything for me. Well, not literally everything, but you understand. She does the other half of everything. Yep. So, you know, I'm appreciative of that, and I got no problems. The other thing is, because I'm on vacation, I'm trying not to make this long, but I'm trying to cut it through. Wednesday, I'm going to be on Woomy Hood's Gaming Beyond the Box.
Nice.
Thursday, you're going to find me on Salty's Gaming Podcast. And then Friday morning, back with you.
Yep.
For breakfast. And then at the end of the month, so I'm going to sneak this one in. I'm going to sneak into Dadcast, and that's going to be November 1st.
Nice, that's great, dude. Well, listen, we're looking forward to being the more that you're on the airwaves, the better it is for this community. Once again, thank you for being here. I want to go to Gaming Forte. Thank you so much for being here every week. And today was great. No mic troubles, no skipped frames, no shenanigans. OBS was playing nice with all of us. It was a great show. You run an amazing channel. You put a video out. Now, again, you took some time off because obviously, again, family comes first. But you put a video out. I want you to tell everyone about that. But do me a favor. Tell everyone not only where they can subscribe to your amazing YouTube channel, follow you on Twitter, but also hear what you have to say on several other podcasts you're on. Uh-oh. Nautical, I think I talked too soon.
You jinxed it, Boom.
I jinxed it, yeah.
Yeah, I'm back at GameStop.
Yeah, no, he jumped. There he is. He jumped back in. There you go, Nautical. I jinxed us.
I was like, man, you jinxed it. We made it to the end of the show. No,
don't tempt the Google gods.
Right, don't tempt it. No, man, but honestly, man, this has been a really, really good show. I really like listening to person to when it comes.
You're gonna have to jump back out, dude, because you're coming in and out. You're botting really bad. So I'll come back around to you towards the end. Cybernox, listen, let's get you out of here, because obviously, you know, you gotta do some family time. Really, really appreciate what you bring to the community. You have positivity. Love what you do on your YouTube channel. Love the fact that you interact with everyone on Twitter. Do me a favor, tell everyone where they can follow you on Twitter. But more importantly, hit that subscribe button to your awesome and growing YouTube channel.
Hey, Boom, I appreciate that so much. You know, I love being here Monday night, getting the gaming community ready for the week, primetime gaming, everybody. Thanks to the chat, thanks to the panel, Centurion, Dreadpool, you guys are fantastic. panel members. You guys, already know we're here every Monday. Yeah, and I'm Cybernox everywhere, Xbox Live. If you ever want a game, just send me a message. Add me on Xbox Live. My YouTube channel is Cybernox as well, and usually during October, I love the horror genre, so I'm playing all the scary games. You can catch me on either Twitch or Mixer at Cybernox as well. So I appreciate the love from the community. I passed 100 subscribers, and the channel keeps growing. And I'm thankful each and every day for you guys. I appreciate that, guys.
Well, listen, it's great to have you a part of this panel, and it's great to hear that your YouTube channel is growing because it certainly deserves it. Now we're going to go to the Italian Clowns, still on the hunt for the perfect calzone. Clowns, you are one of the hardest working dudes in gaming. You have 4 guys with quarters. That basically is on everything. Even toasters have 4 guys with quarters, and that's because of all the hard work you do. Not only that, you are a community good guy. Please tell everyone where they can follow you on Twitter, but more importantly, subscribe to your outstanding YouTube channel.
Oh, thanks, Bum. Every Monday night, 5 p.m. Eastern, as long as there's good topics, we'll have an episode. On this week's episode, Dreadpool was a guest.
Nice.
So, yeah, and that was just a little bit earlier. Yeah, he's on a world podcast tour.
Nice.
Yeah, so 4GWQ podcast on Twitter and 4 Guys with Quarters on YouTube, and basically every single podcasting platform there is.
Yes, well, that's a great point, awesome. And yes, you can find it everywhere. And Nautical Gaming, can we get you to do your outro correctly? Bloody hell, I don't understand what's happening. Well, listen, folks.
I'm here.
Okay, there he is. Okay, so yeah,
I muted myself just in case.
Okay,
well, I'm here.
All right, well, listen, again, we're getting back to you. Listen, you're on a lot of shows, and you bring something special to each show that you're on. You talk sense, you talk from the heart. You're a gamer, but you're also a fantastic community member. Please tell everyone where they can follow you, but more importantly, subscribe to your outstanding YouTube channel.
All right, before Discord decides to kick us off again, Gaming Forte at YouTube and Twitter. Those are the main ways to get in contact with me. Like Boom said, I am on a couple other podcasts. I am on the Scumcast with the lovely Ashen Luca. That is my girl. She's the one that pretty much invited me into this community with everybody, so I can't thank her enough for that. And then we also have the great Basement Radio podcast with my boy Enrique and Slow Mo and E and Eric Jackson and everybody. B Money, man, we do it every Wednesday night, 9 p.m. Check us out over there. It's always a good time. No fanboying over there. Pretty much everybody has all the systems, so we can definitely just have a good conversation, which will be a really big one with all this news that's coming out over the next couple of days. And definitely check out the last video I posted about xCloud, how Microsoft is going to revolutionize and basically make gaming what it needs to be for the future of all of us trying to play. So if you're interested in that, check out that video on the channel. And boom, once again, this was an amazing channel with an amazing group of guests. All of you guys, Centurion, been following it for a while, but I'll definitely, it really hit me overall.
Oh, listen, dude, thank you so much for being here, as always, no doubt about that. And, of course, before we get out of here, I have a real special announcement. Next week's guest is going to be a big one. Randall Thor, the man with a 1 million gamer score, is going to be a guest on Primetime Gaming next Monday evening at 8 p.m. And I cannot wait. It is going to be a real special show. Worked with Rand numerous times before. He has been on Breakfast with Boom. He will be making his premiere guest appearance next Monday evening. And of course, we are going to bid everyone a great night. Thank you so much for being here. Thank you so much for supporting all of us and Double Barrel Gaming. Have a fantastic evening, and we will see you next week on the newest episode of Primetime Gaming. Once again, have a great night. And